What's up,
Yay! I got on.
Bobby? Yeah, Bobby in the house.
I wasn't connected to the internet when I came home, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Oh, there's always some technical issue every time I try to do an important one of these. Every time.
It
That's
was
that.
my turn.
Yes, that's just the rule, but I don't care. We overcome. I tried to do one last week with uh, a relatively popular YouTuber, and we could not get Anchor to cooperate. We had to give up. We tried everything, and we tried doing it through Zoom, and just nothing would work. So,
I'm not surprised. You got
yes.
to work.
So, welcome to our podcast, everybody. We're not, well, can't speak for Bobby. I'm not a professional podcaster or content creator or whatever. I'm just a professional seeker. So this might be a little messy or imperfect, but I don't give any fucks whatsoever. I just want the information to get out there, and the people who need it will find it.
Yes, this is absolutely podcast number 2 for me, so no expert over here.
Woo, that's okay. That's okay. You have such important things to offer. We talked about several different subjects, but I figured since I just recently posted the podcast about psychotronics and about science knowing that consciousness affects matter, and it being measurable, and scientists knowing that this is measurable, um, I thought this would be consciousness would be a great subject for this particular podcast.
Yes.
And I know that you've done a lot of work on the Seth material about it, and so what I
Yeah,
think
he has, I mean, amazing stuff on consciousness. I was very blown out of the water. And it's almost like getting a spiritual perspective and then like I don't know, a government perspective of
yeah,
the same information because they're connected. The CIA document, or I should say the Monroe Institute, because Robert Monroe visited Jane and Robert, the ones who were channeling Seth. He visited them like 10 years or so before he started the Monroe Institute, as far as I know.
you know,
Um,
it doesn't surprise me. I find that when we get a little bit of information, like when we get a little bit of truth, a lot of us, and I'm going back to him visiting them 10 years ago.
mm-hmm.
He got little bits and pieces. He got part of the truth, and he
Yes.
and he got exposed to something that the society doesn't expose us to. And I know most of the people that I know, once we get a little bit of this information, dude, it's game on. Like all we
Mm-hmm.
do is keep searching. And because I think this comes from us all knowing, well, not all of us, there's a lot that don't, but those of us like us, we've always known something was not right. You know,
Yes,
something is
definitely.
not right with our society. Things aren't right with our school system, with our medical system, with our government. Everyone has known, those who are waking up have known something ain't right. So when we get some information that helps explain that, or at least sets us on a trajectory for some explanations, we just can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Or even confirms that what we suspect is accurate.
Yes, yes, because this world will have you feeling like you are crazy. I mean,
Definitely. And it's conditioned. I feel like it's conditioned to do that.
it is because if we never it's hard to make any final decisions or opinions about something, because things change all the time. We were just talking about eggs the other day. My kids, we were telling them how when we were kids, commercials were always on TV about eggs being bad for you, and how,
Really? Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yes, yes, how eggs raise your cholesterol and they stop your heart and they're dangerous and don't eat eggs. And so many people in my generation and the generation before, we believed that because there was public service announcements all over TV telling us eggs were dangerous. That's a true story.
Well, they use eggs to condition us that drugs were bad.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that was going to be my next thing. Them talking about how this is your brain,
Yeah.
this is your brain on drugs. Any questions? You lying ass mofos. My brain on drugs is my brain on drugs is bomb.
My brain on drugs opens up windows.
Exactly. But that's more of the inverted system that we're living in. And our school, and this is going to lead into our consciousness conversation, our school, it don't only teaches you what to think, what to do with what cues, and not how to access your consciousness, not how to think, not how to grow and expand your awareness. It does the opposite. It limits you. It limits you in every single way, from where you write on the piece of paper, on the front or the back of it, what color pen you can use, what sort of pen can I write in cursive, or do I have to print, or vice versa. I mean, it limits where you sit when you come into the classroom, what you wear when you go to school, how you walk, whether you skip. You can't skip or hop, and you definitely can't run.
How you talk.
How you speak, when you speak, when and if you can go to the restroom to relieve.
Yeah.
So it's just we've been living in a society that has done everything it could to trap our consciousness and prevent it from expanding. So,
and really, it's like caters to whatever generational misled concepts are brought into the school system by those in power at that particular time. And I hate to say it, it's like we keep putting the same people in there, and they keep teaching the same stuff.
Right. That's 100% true. You're not going to put an administrator. They're not going to let a woke, so to speak. I hate that term, but they're not going to let an awakening administrator onto the school board or into a school.
No, of course not. They would never. Yeah, no, they would never want you to teach your children how to manipulate energy or move their body, and
even know that energy exists and that we can manipulate it. And there's a fail safe for that. If the school were to ever try to do something like that, that's okay. There's a fail safe, and it's called religion. So
yes.
Someone started doing something in the school, all the religious parents would start crying, and they would be like, this is energy. That's demonic. I'm sure that's demonic.
Yes.
It was not
it's a devil.
It was not in the fucking Bible, yo. That's not in the fucking Bible. I'm sorry. It's not there. It's how it has been interpreted by religious leaders, but that's not even in the Bible, dude. Like, stop it. It's like how everyone people say about homosexuals, like, homosexuals are going to hell.
Yes.
I would guarantee 75% of the people who parrot that shit haven't actually gone and read what the Bible said.
They haven't.
No. And they understand why it was said, and the context and the culture and what happened leading up to that event for what they quote. I mean, it was a whole entire shit show. There was a really bad thing. I don't know if you know the story, but a really bad thing happened in Sodom. Like, an angel of the Lord came.
Oh no, my earpiece just shut off. Hold on. Okay, got it back.
Okay. I guess I could have paused it. My bad. Oh well.
No worries.
But yeah, so this angel of the Lord came to visit Lot and went into his house, and he was apparently really good looking. This angel of the Lord was, because a bunch of horny mofos, all these horny mofos, come banging on Lot's door like, we want to have sex with that. That's the,
I forgot. Yes.
yeah. But I guess some of them were homosexual, some of them were men. So Lot ended up, he wouldn't give him the angel, so he sent one of his servants out, and they ended up raping this girl till she was dead.
Oh.
And Lot was so upset, he cut her into pieces and sent her parts of her body off to show everyone, nearby, what had happened, to this poor girl. But that specific scenario painted those homosexuals in a very negative light. But that doesn't mean that homosexuality is wrong. You have to know the whole story. So anyway, I got off on a tangent, but you get my point, that if people think because they've heard about something that they know about something.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I call those the hypnosis responses. Those are hypnosis responses. They are literally conditioned to use that argument whenever they're triggered by a combination of words. For instance, any conspiracy theories, anything conspiracy theory related, they are conditioned to respond with their hypnosis response.
Yes. And they don't even realize it. I know I do that too. I catch myself. I have to watch myself. I have hypnosis responses still to certain things.
Me too. Yeah.
But I know about them, so I know to watch myself. And when I find myself repeating the same thing over and over, it's like, okay, Lisa, stop, check that. Are you? So we all have them. It's just that most people don't know that they have them, and they really think these are their organic thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's why I ask people on my Facebook page all the time, where did you get this? Who told you that? Who taught you that? Where did you get that information? Think about that. Like, that is, if you have a trigger and you respond with a certain response, where did you get that information? Track it, trace it back. If you trace it back to nothing, no, you don't even know. Why are you saying that?
Have you revisited it lately? Those are back before memes were things on the internet. A meme was a long held belief. That's what a meme was. Like, I don't know, like, okay, like eggs are bad for you. Right.
Yes,
so my whole generation, we had this belief that eggs were bad. And we only thought it because public service announcements came on TV telling us, but none of us had checked this information, and none of us had even revisited it in the years since it was planted into our consciousness. Nobody really revisited to say, wait, do I still feel this way? And one of my children, they're like, I hate shrimp. I absolutely hate shrimp. Well, why do you hate shrimp? Michael, because I threw it up when I was 4. Okay. Okay, buddy.
This is my husband. You're talking about my husband right now. With cucumbers, no joke.
Yeah, Hope's the same way with cucumbers. But it's like, have you tried any other type of shrimp? How is that specific shrimp prepared? Was it from a Chinese restaurant? Was it deep fried? Was it Alfredo? Was it garlic?
Yes.
There's so much, because you threw up fried shrimp one time when you were 4. Now forever and ever, you think you don't like shrimp. So that's exactly what people in our society do, and they get very offended when we come in with something different. I just posted on Facebook about the whether to go towards the light when you die.
Yes, love that question.
Well, I post questions I already know the answer to, usually, or at least I have a good idea, but I want other people to think about it. I ask them so that they will ask themselves.
Yes, yeah, me too. That's why I post a lot of my stuff. Exactly. You might not look at it, or you might not like to look at it, or you might not like to think about it, but you need to think about it. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm making you aware. And if you're aware, you can prepare. If you're not aware, you're just going to be one of these dumb sheep.
Life is being done to you if you're not aware.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
someone commented about how you have a choice, whether to go towards the light. And that is actually the main thing I wanted people to get out of it, is that you have choices. You're not just
this
you're
weak,
trapped.
dumb thing.
Yes, you're trapped if you think you're trapped.
Yes, we trap ourselves.
Exactly. So I'm over here like, no, bro, listen, you don't have to live like this. Like, you have options. There's so much more to you as a human being. So now we'll go into the consciousness. We'll start.
Yeah, because this is directly related to consciousness, in that our first 7 years we're in hypnosis, and this is the conditioning that we get. We're limited. We can't do anything. We're weak. With the pretense of being strong, right? We're incredibly weak, but the brave, you can be brave and strong and support your country, but at the same time, you're just a bag of bones, and you could die in the hospital or a car wreck or a virus or whatever. So you're really not that strong. And so in consciousness, I think, since we're trained to our who we are of consciousness is manipulated, and the what we are of consciousness is not even conscious. It's like the missing piece.
Yes. Yes. And consciousness is, like, most people don't use that word or wouldn't even know, what it means. I personally think consciousness, if I'm asking myself, what is consciousness? I think consciousness is an energy field, and it's our personal energy signature that goes out and gathers information from the fields around us and then pulls it in to our brain, where then our brain, the little mini computer, just processes it with the filters that our consciousness has placed on it.
Yeah, and if you're not taught how to use all those elements correctly, then it's sort of chaotic and unbalanced and uncontrolled and just disheveled.
Well, if you haven't been taught how to use it, or that you even have it, that's when you adopt everybody else's ideas of who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of your own, instead of, this is my consciousness, I can send it out. I like to send mine out to go like on missions, like, go get me this information, like, go get me a Subway sub.
Yes.
Go get me a sandwich or something. Make yourself useful. But I like to send mine out because I know that I have it available to go out and get information. But again, most people don't even know anything about their consciousness. They really think thoughts originate inside of your brain.
Yes.
And thoughts do not originate inside of your brain. Let me make that very, very clear.
Then we just learned that the other day.
Well, this is not a funny story, but ironically, the father of my children died suddenly when they were 7 and 8 years old. And he had a stroke, which triggered a major heart attack. And he was supposedly brain dead. So he's in this hospital on life support. Actually, they had unplugged the life support. So we go in to say our goodbyes. And we're told he's completely brain dead. Absolutely brain dead. Anything he does he's not aware of it. He's not conscious. His body is just having these reflexes, and he's dead. His brain is dead.
Yes.
But when I spoke to him in his ear, I said something in his ear. I got very close, and I told him that it was okay, that I would take care of the kids, that he could go, because it was horrible seeing such a strong, powerful man broken down to that shell. I said, you could go. Well, when I spoke to him, he literally put his chin up and turned his head towards me. And my son and daughter saw this. They watched it. Well, the other people in the room, the other family members said, "Oh, look at that. Boy, he's still got good reflexes." No, no. They're like, it's not possible that he consciously turned towards you. It's not possible. His brain was dead.
Yeah, okay. Leave me alone.
Right. So on the way home, my little 8-year-old Hopi says, "Mama, I don't think you need a brain in order to live." And I was like, "That's ridiculous. Of course you need a brain. What do you mean? That's where everything comes from. It operates your whole everything in your body. Of course you need a brain." I thought that was a crazy thing at the time, even though I just saw this man react to me when he was supposedly brain dead.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that to me at 8 years old. She's now 18, and she's like, "I told you you don't need your brain."
Uh-huh. Yep. I told your mom. I knew.
Yes. So now she's getting proven right. And I'm not, don't take this, if you're listening to it, don't think I'm so stupid that I don't understand muscles and reflexes and nerves and nerve endings and how your brain goes into your spine. I understand that your brain is necessary to operate this avatar. Okay. I get that. But it doesn't.
You know what, Lisa? They just don't know. They don't know about it.
Right. So consciousness it's a field. It's a measurable energy field that I have spoken about in my prior podcasts. I don't want to go over it all again, but it's a measurable field, energy field, and everybody has one, but we all use ours differently. If you were to
I think you should know we were just talking about comas last night. Me, my husband, and my daughter. We red pilled her last night. Oh no, Sorry, I think my thing went out again.
But now, let me pause it.
Okay.
Wait, are you back?
Yep, I'm back.
Okay. So if you were going to define consciousness, how would you define it?
So, I was thinking about that earlier when I finally got wireless, and you saw that I had been going over sort of what to talk about as far as consciousness goes. Honestly, I didn't know what I had came up with when I thought of consciousness. I just know the cumulative of what I've been reading about, and I think it got a little more clear for me when you actually gave me your definition, because I feel like you're really spot on. And I just get really disappointed that we have to find out about this stuff so late in our lives, and we couldn't use it when we were, I feel like, the most powerful, between ages 0 and 8, 0 and 7.
Yeah.
We could have been changing the world, literally.
Well,
and I feel like that's why that information is kept from us.
No, that's precisely why it's kept from us. And truth be told, I do believe that many children, many of the missing children, their consciousness is used purposely. They use their power of their unhinged consciousness in order to prop up the grid. I think
Yes.
they use their consciousness energy to prop up the grid, the false overlay.
Yes.
And I know that that's true. I know that in my heart that is true.
It's just so powerful. We have abilities. Like, people think we can't. It's just like the belief. They construct our beliefs to limit us so that way we can't go past a certain point. When you find out you can go past a certain point, it's almost like you have to practice doing it, because it doesn't just come to you, and then you're sort of inclined to deny it or say it doesn't exist. But if you can push through and keep doing it, and finally you'll realize that all this stuff is actually what you can do with your consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that humans learn is we compare everything outside of us to ourselves. That's how we learn. We compare. Well, when we start learning about our consciousness, then we want other people, we want to see other people doing it too, or we want to tell other people about it, or we want their approval about it. And we just want to tell the whole world, like, yo, you're not limited at all. It's amazing. There's so much more to you. You're a badass. You're magical. Like you're like those dudes in X-Men.
And you can do all that shit, man.
Yes. And you want to tell people, but you get poo-pooed, and people you love and respect will react to you like you are absolutely batshit.
Conditioned.
Yes, I just back to my go towards the light post. A very beloved family member of mine commented basically that it's sad that things we used to think were holy are being inverted, and we no longer see them as holy. And she was referring to the light. But no, baby, sweetheart, sunshine, you do not know what is actually holy. You know what you have been told is holy.
Yes, honey girl, don't put us in your box.
You know what you've been told is holy, but you haven't done, and this isn't an insult because I love that specific person, but if we go back to the Bible and religion, the Bible says, knock and the door will be opened. Seek and you shall find. You have to knock. You have to seek. And seeking isn't sitting in a chair letting some other person who's done the work tell you what they've concluded from the work they've done. No, you do the work. You dig in. And when I started really the hardest part of accessing your consciousness, learning about your consciousness and utilizing it is like you said, it's overcoming the fear of should I be doing this? Am I going to be rejected if I do this? Is this real? Is this my imagination? And then when you realize that your imagination is just as real things, because everything is generated from your consciousness, including your imagination.
Yes. And you really have to get over, you have to break through the hypnosis. Everybody has that same hypnosis, and the hypnosis reaction to shame. So you really have to bust through that hypnosis and realize that that's what's been programmed to you, and you delete that program on your hard drive and you create your own new program.
Yes, girl. That just made my heart warm and fuzzy. Yes.
And what you have to do to all the bad programs, really, and just delete them. One that doesn't serve you.
Exactly. The ones that don't serve you. But our society is set up in such a way that people are too busy. They're too busy working and enriching someone who they will never, I'm building someone's company and I'm never going to own it. I'm going to work to build it, but I'm never going to own it. I'm never going to own part of this. I'm going to get my wages and someone else is going to be rich because of my work.
Yes.
You spend all your time and you keep thinking, if I do a good job at work, well, I'll get a promotion. Like, you want to be a more important do-girl? That's what you want? You want to be a more important slave? You're still a fucking slave.
Yes.
What do you mean? I'm the slave that goes, and fetches the water instead of the slave that tills the field. What difference does it make? You're a slave. But our society, I'm sorry.
Let me give you this perspective. So we are slaves until we realize that we can manifest whatever timeline or whatever future we want, right?
Yes. So yes, what I was saying, where I was going with that was that we're so busy serving someone else that we never have the time. Most people do not have the time to go within and decide what programs. They don't even know they're running programs, much less have the maturity to go within and start picking apart. It's like picking, nits out of someone's hair. It's like, don't need that. Like like when I'm trying to make room on my computer, like if it's running slow, I go into the programs and say, I haven't used that program in 6 months. Let me delete it. We're so busy, we don't even know that you can, much less take the time to do it. And that is by design.
Yeah. Because, let me give you a couple more reality shows, keep you busy after work, after you've been, working for corporate all day. Let me give you some reality shows, a little bit of sports. I'll keep you busy all the way until I put you to sleep. I'm going to put you to sleep on your phone. I'm going to let
Yep.
that. I'm going to let that tell you when you're tired. And then I'm going to wake you up and I'm still going to make you tired. And you're going to go and do the same thing every day, all day.
Yes. And you really think that that's what we're here for. And I really thought that. I know I'm going to come across as being so like making talking about people like they're stupid, but I am talking about me like I was stupid.
Yes, me too.
Okay?
Me too.
I'm not talking. I'm gonna say you, but in you, I'm talking about humans, and I'm included
Hmm.
in humans. So I don't
Hmm.
mean to call people stupid, but I was just as bad. But it's because there's so much hypnosis, so much spell casting, so much ritualistic behavior. Stand in the morning is stand and look at the flag and put your hand on your heart and speak a binding spell as children.
Yeah.
They have got billions of children speaking binding spells, and putting their hand over their heart and speaking this spell. And
Yeah. And
but
there
it's
isn't
painful.
even enough of us to give 50% of that on the light side. Nobody. There's only
No,
maybe like, I don't know, 10 or 15% of people who actually might be that dedicated on the light side.
right, right. No, you know what? That's true. That might be a conversation we should have in the future about what we could all try to do regularly.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, girl, that's a good point. So your consciousness is, to me, it's an entity of its own. It's kind of riding shotgun with your avatar. That's the way I see it. It's like my navigator. It's my what's it, girl Tuesday or girl Monday? I don't remember what day it is, but it's like your do girl part of yourself, and it rides shotgun with you. And so then you have to learn how to send it off on the correct to get it to work the best for you. But at the same time, before I get off the subject, our consciousness, and we've talked about this, but I want to make it a specific point. Our consciousness is being hijacked. It's being wrangled. The manifestation power of our minds is being wrangled. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. Fabricated, manipulated, limited, controlled,
And
completely taken over.
it's used to manifest certain timelines for the powers that be.
Let's just say it, the elite. They're rich and bored.
Yeah, whatever they are. They're probably, truth be told, honestly, they're probably the asshole from Westworld. Okay, if you watched Westworld, okay, the rich guy that came into the game, right? That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a bunch of rich, selfish, narcissistic, sociopathic fucking assholes that are bored. They've played this game. I think it's
Yes.
highly likely either they haven't died at all and they've been here hundreds, if not thousands of years, or they just
transfer.
Yes, consciousness to consciousness transfer. They're just plopping that shit out, putting it back in new bodies, and they're not undergoing the amnesia like we are.
Yes.
We get pulled into that thing when we die, and our consciousness detaches from our body and goes wherever. We get pulled into that the washing machine, the amnesia machine,
Mm-hmm.
and we get shut back down here without our memories. They don't have that.
Organic reincarnation.
Yes. So they don't have the ability to create like we do. And the difference
they have
between
to use the dark light, I presume.
they have to use us.
Yeah.
They have to
funneling it, yes.
Yes, they have to manipulate us to get us to create. I like to think of it, if anything, I have an overly open heart chakra. I have a very passionate, deep desire to protect humans. I mean, it's like a possession almost. It's the strongest part of me is I feel strongly that I need to protect human beings. Okay. I love them even when they're stupid.
Yes.
But that is used against me by the realm. Okay. Because the realm knows it can't fool me. It's not going to manipulate. It's not going to fool me. It's not going to use me. I'm not going to believe it's manipulation anymore. It knows that. And it's not going to get me to implement their bullshit programs anymore, not knowingly. So it knows that. So what does it do? It sends the orders to the hive. So the hive people, the people attached to the hive, they start doing things like, for instance, I'm going to say wearing a mask. I don't know. Wear your mask. Don't wear your mask. I don't care. I'm just using this as an example because it's recent on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
They send the signal, the order to the hive. Everyone wear your mask. And not only should you wear your mask, you should ridicule anyone that doesn't wear a mask.
Oh, man, that was a beautiful shame job. It was a beautiful shame job.
Right? So now it's like, I know that you're trying to get me to participate in your fucking huge ass magic spell because you're flailing because you're about to lose and you're desperate. So you want me to partake of that. I don't want to do that because I know it's bullshit. But, you know, my people in my current life, people who I love, people who I respect, they're wearing it. They're implementing the program. And because I love them, I don't want to hurt them. So a lot of people do that and they go along to get along.
Yeah.
It's using your heart against you to still, even when you're aware, you still are being used to implement the goal of the realm. You know? So
I have a story related to this.
Okay.
So this is just like 2 weekends ago. I'm in the grocery store and mind you, I typically wear my pajamas while I'm in the house and then I get dressed and I leave, but I was already dressed. And so I just left and we went to the store and I ran in the store and I realized after we're almost done, which we spent about 10 or 15 minutes in there, I'm running back for butter. I have no mask on. And let me tell you, I felt so shamed. I fucking felt so shamed about myself. I felt so bad for other people. And I get to the cash register and I was like, and I says to the cash lady, I was like, none of you guys said I didn't have no mask on. And they start chuckling. And so then, you know, I'm reflecting afterwards and I'm like, I was straight up conditioned to feel shame, which worked adequately. I mean, it worked. It worked so good. I can't even tell you. But the thing about it is nobody else was worried about that shit.
Right.
Nobody else gave me a hard time. So I'm like, why
am I?
Like, why am I so, and it's because I was fucking conditioned.
Exactly. That's such a good point because I've experienced that myself. I'm not wearing a mask. I will not wear a mask in anywhere I go, even if there's a sign that says wear a mask. My end around has been I wrap a little scarf around and I pull it up onto my chin like I'm about to rob a stagecoach or something.
Yes.
And that's so it kind of looks like I give a shit about what you're asking me to do, but it also looks like I give a shit about what I think is right.
Right.
So, so for me, I would rather not put anything on my face at all, but I still have that part shame, but also part like, you know, that old person right there, you know, they're probably really relying on me. They really think I need my face to be covered in order for them to be healthy and I could be causing them anxiety. But I still haven't covered my face because of that, but I do care what they think, but that's how they manipulate you. That's how they do it. They cannot manifest a specific reality. They need us to do it, and they do it through these games. And that's actually the reason that I stopped posting about a mask or about a virus or anything except my little joke about if I had $1 for every time I said huh to someone that's speaking to me through a mask. Because it's just that literally 3/4 of the conversation is, huh? What? Oh, Like your whole, so, I quit doing it because I decided I'm not manifesting this for you. Fuck you.
Sorry.
You know, I just choose, I'm not manifesting it anymore. Like you said, I want to go back and choose. I want to choose, clean out my hard drive, put new programs in it, run new things. And I don't want you to be the purveyor of programs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
At this point, they're the purveyor of almost every program, at least Americans run.
Yes.
And let me quick qualify that. When we say we're running programs, I can't speak for Bobby, but our bodies, I believe our bodies are their DNA technology, and our brains are mini computers, and we do run programs. That's what teaching is. Teaching and school is literally just programming your hard drive. It's just entering the data into your hard drive.
In the most manipulated abilities between 0 and 8.
100%. Yes.
So, and I get that from, so in case anybody isn't aware of that, children between the ages of 0, they'll argue 0 and 7, but 0 and 8 are in what's called theta state. So it's a state of consciousness, right? And in the state of consciousness, your left brain is essentially asleep. So it doesn't know how to filter between bullshit and not bullshit. So basically everything goes directly to the right brain. So as you're teaching children, and I think, who was it, the Greeks or the Romans, or I can't remember who it was, but they had this saying, give us your son until the age of 7 and he'll be a man, or something like that. Do you recall that?
Yeah, it rings a bell, but I don't remember it exactly.
So essentially saying the same thing, just in, ancient times. It's the same message. So that's why they indoctrinate. That's what it's called, indoctrinating our children.
Yes.
With that bullshit, and don't teach them essentially what they really are. Right.
And it's because I can imagine, I see this with the Black community. I know I'm white, so I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Okay.
Yes.
But I know that I'm going to be judged for this, but I don't really care because I love humans, and I see that community being so manipulated in every way. And you know why? Because they are amazing, and they're magical, and they're talented, and they're beautiful and lovely and powerful. And if they ever united and arose, the controllers, it would be over. I mean, it would be if we all did it, collectively. But I can see that they're afraid of that particular subset of the population. They are afraid of them because they're so amazing and
beautiful and strong, and like their whole gosh, what is it, like their entire persona built off of strength and endurance and living through it. And you can't be having nobody like that in mass numbers in control of themselves.
Right. It's fear.
Their whole, and so when they say systematic racism, yes, it's like that for a reason, because if those people were to have control against who is controlling them, they would overtake them. Period.
Exactly. Period. But the way to keep them neutralized is by thinking everybody's doing that to you, and actually not everybody. What's happening in your community is being done by design. It's engineered to be that way.
Yes, engineered.
Yes. And so it is social engineering. I mean, even the music, there was a letter that a producer from LA wrote. It was like in the mid-late 90s, and she wrote it anonymously, so of course whether she actually wrote it or not, or who wrote it, is in question. But the information in it, I believed this woman, because she told this very long story how she was a producer. She worked for a major record label, and they were all invited to this mansion for a meeting, and nobody knew what it was exactly about, and nobody else knew who was invited. It was big, hush hush. And they go in, and it's literally a meeting talking about how they're going to turn the music to point it at the Black community and drive the Black community into a certain state of being through the music. And that's when all the ghetto rap stuff started. Believe me,
gangster rap.
Yes, and it's no different. Believe me, it's no different with white people. But I'm not going to apologize just because I have a white fucking avatar and act like I'm not allowed to speak on things that I see in front of my face. Okay,
yeah, it's the same shit, just different.
Right.
It's a different engineering, and what's engineered is just different.
It's classism. And with country music, if I got 3 chords, I got me a country song, and it's beer and having sex in the truck and dirt roads,
and you're dumb as fuck, and you talk like this, and you can't really make a sentence, and all you do is fight. Yeah.
Right? Fight and fucking
racism.
Fight fucking farm. Yes.
Yes. It's the same engineered script, just different ingredients.
Exactly. And also done so purposely so that so it points out our differences instead of our similarities. And we have far more similarities than differences. And of course, so we have been undergoing mass hypnosis, mass social engineering, oppression of our consciousness, oppression of our hearts, oppression of our bodies. The whole realm is set up to keep us down. But don't let me make that seem like I think we are victims, because I think we are so badass as humans. The reason we know this, I think enough of us wanted to know the truth that we literally of the ether and integrate it into our bodies.
Yes.
Yep. It was hidden, and we banged the door. What does Dr. Neruda say? If enough people, go up to the crack, look through the crack in the wall, if enough people do it, eventually we break the wall down.
Yeah. It was the occult. It had been hidden from us.
Yes, the occulted. And that's the other thing where religious people, they say occult. Oh, that's occult. That's demonic. No, it just means hidden. It was
Isn't it funny how they manipulated that word?
Yes.
Hypnosis. Yes. Is that the neuro-linguistic programming?
Yes. And once you start to wake up and you see that, you're like, I definitely spent my time being angry about it. I was so freaking mad. I was like, this is some bullshit, man. I spent the first 38, 39 years of my life being ran like a little puppet, somebody had their hand up my ass speaking for me. Yep. And at the same time, I went through so much pain and suffering. It's like the least that I could do, the least you're going to do for me, you stupid realm. And that's what I call it, because there's an overarching intelligence here. It's not just the people. It's not just the people. It's an overarching intelligence that manipulates people to do what they want, to do what the realm wants. So the least, for my part, I'm going to spend the rest of my life, the time that I have left here, I'm going to spend it in joy and wholeness and health. And I'm going to turn this experience around to where it should have been from the beginning. Yeah,
definitely. And that's why I said it's so disappointing to find this out so later in life. I shouldn't say it's disappointing, but all the things that could have been different because you viewed yourself differently. It's amazing, but I guess we wouldn't be who we are and know the things we know and appreciate what we got unless we went through all those trials and tribulations.
And that's a good point. And the other night I got this whole download where I was able to see, because we like to be mad at the elites or whoever. We like to be mad at them. And believe me, it's not like I want to have a fucking bagel with one of them or anything.
Yeah.
But even that energy is still part of source energy. Source is all things. And source itself and its benevolence would not be able to yank us around this way because it loves too much. So source had to create something that would be here to give us contrast.
Yes.
So without the contrast, we would not be what we are. So even though it's awful and it's painful, we still needed it. And I think this is another download that I got. Okay. The way that I saw it is, we were created, we're here on this planet. There's a million gajillion origin stories, and I'm not saying I know the actual, like, because I think it happened many different ways on different people's timelines. So you could be right, I can be right, a bunch of people can be right. But we were all put here, and they realized that, okay, they created us, they gave us this earth to be on, and then they realized, okay, they're a bunch of assholes, we need to scrap this and start over.
Yes.
Well, but I think what happened is they tried to scrap us. I think they tried to kill the humans, and I think that not all the humans would die. But see, what they did is they put us here like in a Garden of Eden type situation where we had every single thing we needed. Well, we weren't growing, we weren't evolving spiritually or emotionally or mentally. We weren't evolving. So they were going to get rid of us. But when they tried to kill us and we didn't die, not only did we not die, that opposition, that conflict actually caused the humans to start to grow and start to become better people and evolve. And then they realized, whoever they realized, wait a minute, we tried everything we could do for these humans to make them evolve. And the only thing we didn't do was hurt them. And apparently creating a struggle is what makes them grow. So yeah. I think they realized that the only way for us to grow and evolve to a place where we may be able to get out of quarantine is through struggle.
I.e. trauma activating awakening.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't like it. I don't freaking like it, but maybe it was necessary.
Yes, I guess. So what would be the term? Duality?
Yeah.
We always have to experience duality, or we're never going to learn. We're never going to get the true reason, because we're down here to go through this school of earth as a soul and an avatar,
Yes.
So how are we going to learn lessons if we're only given all the good things? That doesn't teach us any lessons. We already get all the good things in our soul form. We want to experience what it's like to be so heavy in this world of heaviness.
To be disconnected, to feel disconnected. And I think that way we can appreciate source energy better once we now know what it's like to live in a state of presumed separation. There really is no such thing, but it certainly feels that way.
Yeah.
So I go through that whole process in my mind and heart when I start to really analyze this. I get mad at them, and then I realize that even God created them, whatever God is to you, source.
Right.
And so even God created them, and they actually are serving an important purpose. Not that I consent. I don't consent. I don't agree. I don't want to be a part of it. But I can see, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, I can see that were it not for these struggles, I wouldn't be fortified.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You wouldn't have the heart.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So,
because this is mind-blowing stuff. The, paper with the 18 podcasts, mind-blowing. Who even knows about all that? We can ask anybody on the street. What are they going to tell us about dimensions? What are they going to tell us about energy, the tools? What are they going to tell us? They don't know anything about any of that.
No, they're going to respond that they're going to think that they're going to say, oh, that's that new age bullshit.
Yeah, yes. And you know what? I'm sorry, you're so hypnotized. I'm telling you, there's a world you don't even know about.
It's the Plato, it's the allegory of the cave. I mean, it's, if a fish, can you imagine a fish going back, like a fish that got caught and thrown back and going and telling his buddies what happened? All of his little fish buddies would think he was crazy. But it actually happened. So there's so much more to our world than we can even begin right now to comprehend. We're just barely even, we're not even scratching the surface yet, I would
this
imagine.
is like 0.03%.
Yeah, like loading. We're on, the screen, the loading.
Yeah.
We're like barely, it's like barely a millimeter over. Like,
10,000 years left.
Exactly. Your download will complete in the year 23,212. Fuck me.
Lordy. Yeah. If we started this when we were smaller, by the time we got to, say, university level, where we would learn the more advanced areas of consciousness, I feel like we would all be so different. Everything would be so different.
It would be better. It would be better. And we're headed that way. And I actually had a dream about the other night. I was in a world where the children were taught these things early. And I mean, even everything about that world was different. Even the sky, the color of the sky and the feel of the air, everything was completely different. And because of that, I was so inspired. Our goal with my granddaughter is to raise her without the limits. Now, we're still running programs. I know, old programs, and we still have some 3D habits that we need to work on. But our goal with her, she's not going to go to a school, not a school like our typical schools. We're going to teach her about energy and teach her about her consciousness and teach her that she is limitless.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to make for a real neurotic, weird ass little kid. She goes and plays at the playground. But hey,
I mean, hopefully by then we kind of get everybody out of their shame hypnosis.
Yes. And that's a really good way to put it. You're right. Because when you are different from other people, you start to feel ashamed and like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why am I like this?
Because look how mainstream it already is, right? People are going to healers, they're buying crystals, like they're on the, what would be the term, like mainstream spirituality.
Yeah.
But the more deeper shit's just around the corner. Like yesterday I was at work and or day before, and I'm moving my plants around and my workmate's like, "Oh, I just love your plants." I'm like, "I know, me too. Did you know that you can tell which subcoordinates of energy are activated in the space by whether your plants grow there or not?" And he just looked at me like, he was like, "Wow, that's actually a lot for me." I said, "Yeah, well, I bet you didn't know that you could activate those subcoordinates too."
Shit.
Like, and then I just wide-eyed. Everybody's looking at me like, "Oh, hell no."
But we have to make these things. I do the same thing. I talk about things like this like they're normal. I just say it. I say it like, how's the weather outside?
Yeah.
Because we need to normalize these things. And it's not, this isn't like you were talking about the mainstream, like the crystals and healers and stuff. What we need to be careful about is not stopping there. And I know you and I won't, but I mean this community, not stopping, like finding a placeholder and just sitting there like, oh, I've arrived. This is it. I found it.
Yes.
No. And I was trying to explain to my husband who, some of the way that I speak made him think that I don't believe in God. And that could not be further from the truth. I don't believe in religion. I believe in God, and Jesus is my homie, no doubt about it.
Right,
but
right.
I was trying to explain, I said, the Bible and the church and the religion, okay, it had not that the Bible will always have a place, but it had a place, it's part of your journey, but it isn't where you're supposed to stay and just give up and say, oh, I found all the truth. There's nothing else to find.
I'm done.
I said, what if, okay, with our granddaughter, I said, for now, because she crawls around and everything, we have to keep her in a playpen because she doesn't know that she can hurt herself.
Right. Yes.
But as she grows and we teach her, okay, don't put your finger in the light socket, don't run around the house with a knife. As she grows and we teach her, then she doesn't have to be in the playpen anymore. She can be trusted to come out and experience and explore the world. And religion was our playpen. We needed it.
The foundation.
Okay, we needed it. Okay, fine. We did need to learn many of the elements that are taught, but it wasn't where we were supposed to stay forever.
Right. Yeah, that was just like an introductory or like a preface.
It was the preface. It was the preface to the user manual, to the Earth Experience user manual.
Like, you wasn't supposed to stay there, mofo.
There's so much more for you to read, but you stopped at the preface. You're like, oh, I understand the whole book. It's like watching the trailer and not watching the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I got it all. Thank you.
Like, I get it. Okay. Like, no.
Now I see. And then you go about the world and like you're all cocky and shit, like you know everything.
Right. Because I watched the trailer, so I know shit. No.
Judging every fucking buddy.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I know what Jesus said about that. Actually, no, you don't. You know what somebody told you that a Bible said, but you don't know what Jesus probably didn't say half the shit that people think Jesus himself said. And he's the only source. For me, he's the only, I believe if I know that it's the word of Jesus, then okay, I'm down for it. But everything else in that Bible is like, dude, I don't know. I just read it as stories. I learn from it, learn the lessons from it. Some of the stuff really does resonate and it moves my heart. I feel it, but not from a religious perspective.
Yes.
And that's what people don't understand. I can believe in God and not need to put him in a box. My God's not in a book. He's not relegated to a book and a building. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
And let's be real. Like, 50% of white people think Jesus was fucking white. So as far as religion goes, like, you're so boxed in for some people. Yes. I feel bad for them, Yes. Like, they have no idea. They just think that they're supposed to live their lives by this metaphorical parental figure who is called God, who's limited in and of themselves. I mean...
Right, but let me ask you, riddle me this. Why, and this is okay, at the very beginning, the Bible says that he said, let us create man and create man in our image. Okay, so you had just said to me, dear preacher man, that I am created in the image of God. And out of the very same mouth, in the very same sermon, you told me how fucked up I am and how much I need to be redeemed. Which fucking one is it? Am I like God or am I a whole mess?
And don't ever fucking say that God talked to you. Don't ever say that God talked to you or that Jesus talked to you or that anybody fucking talked to you in your head, because you'll be the fucking devil.
Well, right. That's you need to be, that needs to be exercised out of you right now. No,
you can pray, but don't nobody talk to you.
Yeah, but don't go too far. Don't get too crazy. Like with the virus thing, right? I'm driving through my neighborhood and the churches are closed. And now there's no mandate here. There's no mandate where I live.
What? Really?
There's no mask. There's no mask mandate whatsoever. There's no closing mandates whatsoever. We had like bars and restaurants, so some closures on those minimally, but it was a very short period of time. Our governor is like, no, man. Our governor actually said, why do you want me to try to tell them what to do? They're going to do whatever they want to. He actually said they're going to do what the hell they want to do. Is actually what his quote. He said they're going to do what they want to do. Why are you trying to get me to try to make people do what they just let them, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. I'm not getting involved in this. So he didn't do it. And our county didn't do it. So our churches weren't required to be closed. None of that. But the churches were closed everywhere. And I'm like, that you just do you believe in what you preach or don't you?
Yeah, like I almost wonder what the mentality was. Did they all get together and be like, hey, it's best if we close, guys?
I mean, I know they're doing what you and I described doing about, if I give them the benefit of the doubt, then they were doing what you and I described doing about going along to get along and not wanting to take the chance that you make people sick.
Yeah.
And, and I understand.
Shame hypnosis.
Right. And I understand that, but and I don't mean this to make a podcast about dogging religion, because there are a lot of good people. There are a lot of good people that go to church and good people who are religious. Mm-hmm. They're beautiful people. So I hope that I didn't. Well, it's too late. I already blew up a religion. I threw a Molotov cocktail in it.
No, okay. So if people apply themselves to what we've been talking about, then fuck off. But if people don't apply themselves to what we're talking about, then let's keep going, right? Right. If the shoe fits, it fits, but I ain't trying to make it fit you.
Right. That's right. You're the one. If it feels like you, then it might be you.
Yes. And you need to explore that trigger.
Absolutely. But some people are just happy where they are, not exploring their consciousness. They're happy just working their little wage job, and that's okay. There's a place for that. That's okay. Yeah. But what I'm trying to do with this podcast and these kind of conversations is just to trigger your mind, to just kind of open the door a little bit, just let a little bit of light in and see what happens. Give it a chance.
So if people were to learn something from this podcast, let's think of something that we would want them to know. So first of all, I want somebody to look deeper.
Yes, that's what I want. I want you to ask yourself the questions ask yourself how you feel about the things that we brought up in this podcast, and then ask yourself why you feel how you feel. And when you just start the exploration, you don't have to believe or anything we're saying or agree with anything we're saying. Even if we pissed you off, that's cool too. Explore that.
Right. Yeah, because all that, it means something. It's telling you something, like whether you have a program that you need to get rid of, or how to perceive things from another direction or another avenue, how to, understand things in a different way, how to just think outside of the box you're given, how to recognize the box that you're given to begin with.
Yes. Right. Just the fact that you're in a box and that there's more to you. I guess the one takeaway that's most important, more important than anything that I would like for you to take away, so we can end this because we've already been an hour already. But my biggest one is you are not your body.
Right. You're not that box. You're not that box either.
Right. You're not your body. You are not your body. It literally
is an avatar. It literally is a bodysuit, as Becca would say.
Yes, exactly. It's an avatar. She's exactly right. This is just a skin suit. This is not who you are. You're in this, navigating this realm. You're only using your body as transportation. That's it. You wouldn't say, I am my car. Right. You use it to get you somewhere and you get out of it. And you're like, that's my car. I know that's not my car. It would be crazy for me to say that I'm my car. Well, it's crazy for you to say that you're your body.
Your body is this spacesuit to experience this hologram.
Yes. Yes. and that's the next podcast. The next one of the ones we'll have to get into next is simulation and what this realm really is. That's
okay. I'm writing that one down too. Simulation.
Simulation. And qualifying that. So thank you so much, Bobby, today. Yeah. That was a perfect way to end the podcast. We'll definitely get together and do this again. I will post this and I'll put all of the links and everything in the description.
Okay, cool.
So, thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.